Hi, I'm Crystal, and thank you so much for joining me on the Warrenist Live, where we celebrate the art, culture, lifestyle, and people of Warren County, North Carolina, and beyond. Before we get started, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, so we can continue to spread all the wonderful news that's happening right here in our community. Um, just in case, if you haven't driven through Littleton lately, I suggest you do. There are just so many things happening right now in Littleton. It's growing in a major way. New businesses are popping up. The Lakeland Cultural Arts Center is going through renovations. And also, there's something else that's in the works, which brings me to today's guest, Miss Angel Jones. She is a Warrenton native. She graduated with honors from Warren County High School and since has acquired several degrees, certifications, licenses, including an associate degree in pre-law, a bachelor's degree in business administration, and currently concluding her MBA. Being active in the community has been a mainstay in her life, and in her life and career experiences have certainly propelled her to this historic moment in our community, which she is going to share and talk about today. So again, thank you so much, Angel, for joining us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Crystal. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, me too. All right, so like I said, you're from Warrenton, you're from Warren County. What's your fondest memory growing up here?
Oh, yeah, I'm from here. So I would have to say that my fondest memory is just growing up down the street from the church, going to Coley Springs, the Sunday schools, the vacation Bible schools, and just having that church background, that sense of community is my fondest memory. Walking through the woods, playing with my siblings, my parents. Just being a country girl, a churchy country girl is my fondest memory of here.
Right. So now you talk a lot about like community involvement. Was there like a defining moment when you were younger that you said, I want to be involved more in the community. I want to do more.
So I don't think I have a defining moment. In the era that I grew up in, it was your neighbor, the Janetta West, that picks you up for church. It was um, the neighbor across the street that would take you to school when you missed the bus. So I grew up in a time where community was family. Wherever you went, people knew you, they knew your parents, they knew your siblings, and it was truly a village. So um, a defining moment, I guess, when I felt like I had come of age and it was time for me to give back was my first manpower job at South Warren. I was working with Tony Cozart out there at the time, and I was 14. I got my first job, and the first job was a summer camp out at South Warren when I was 14. So I guess that's the time that I realized, hey, you really should give back, interact with the kids, and the rest is kind of history.
Right. And then also very early on, these work ethics
Yeah.
were developing. And so that
Yes.
definitely, we see it today. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I was taught to work. I was taught I would go out on the farm with my mom and my aunts and my cousins. My dad would let me, from an early age, I would do his books. He was a person that was in business. He had small businesses in the area. So, I grew up experientially learning how to become an adult as a kid in a way that was very mentorish. So I grew up around pretty loving people that
Wow,
poured into my life.
that's awesome. And I really, it shows. It really
Yeah.
does. Because I've noticed where you just mentioned about mentoring. I've seen where you've mentored others. You've offered me advice. I've always greatly appreciated that, you know. So,
Yeah.
but also very important to you is education.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah. So in today's society, you see where some people put more emphasis on being insta famous. um, what role, I'm sorry, well, how do you view education in today's societies, today's standards?
Education has changed a lot since I was small. It's turned into a testing society. If you can get past the test, you can get certified, or if you can get past the test, you can be in this career. If you can test, then you can. And I think we've all had those ER nurses that you say, man, she really should not be a nurse, but she passed the test and she's a nurse. So I think
Right.
education has become very task oriented versus, what I grew up with education. Education was so that you can understand the world around you and you could figure out who you were based on what you knew about the world, about the Bible, about people. Education was just a part of growing as a person. And it didn't really matter how many degrees you had. My dad had a sixth grade education, but he was truly one of the smartest people I'd ever met. And I knew several people that way. So education was really the fabric of who you became when I was growing up. And I think that we've kind of gotten away from that, unfortunately. And I see professionals and people that work in arenas that, they really don't understand the basics of what they're supposed to be or do.
Wow.
It's
Right.
unfortunate.
Yeah, yes, really. With education, I touched on it earlier with, all the degrees and license and certifications. I know if I named them all, I would still be naming them right now. We wouldn't even
So,
start with the show yet. But just touch on that briefly. Like, why did you choose the particular path that you took, and the schools that you attended?
So I just growing up in South Warren, I was able to write on the newspaper staff. I was able to participate in church and choir and sports and log in, and being a teenager that was really brought up in a high school and in a society where you got to work on political campaigns. You got to kind of travel and speak to different high schools. I tried a lot of things, and I think it just became a part of who I am as an adult. I felt like I had to get a lot of certifications and get some information and knowledge about a lot of different things so that I really could figure out what I'm best at. You can do a lot of stuff, but what are you really, really, really good at? And I got those certifications. I dabbled in law, I dabbled in finance and business, and now education. And I think truly to make an impact, you have to have a little bit of all of those things. So I was just a fan of, I'm a professional student. I'll probably be learning until I die, even if I live to be 100, because the world and people change. And I think that if you really want to do something good, then you should know what you're talking about. And being a student of society, I think that's what's required to really impact kids, even my own kids. I want to be able to know what I'm talking about when I'm trying to guide my own children, and especially when I'm mentoring other people's kids. So that's really coming up, being able to dabble in a lot of things. It just gives you a confidence in what you know, and not to boast or brag, but it gives you a confidence in how you can effectively interact with other people in a way that's positive and loving and giving.
That's absolutely true. And while we're on the topic of education, because that's of course where we are, what we're discussing today, the Littleton Academy. Tell me about, how did the idea come about? What's your role in the
Uh,
Littleton Academy? Just spill on it.
so that just and bridging that question from the different variety of things that I've done, that is how I came upon the Littleton Academy project. I've been in arenas, with first working with AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps is an anti-poverty program. And, I've been around the country just impacting different programs, Texas, New York, Virginia, Puerto Rico. And when you do that, it just gives you an idea of how people in other places live in the programs that they need. So with being a consultant for small business here and the different things that I've been in, I came into the meeting with the FITS as a consultant to talk about how engineering can impact students in rural areas. First is for inspiration and recognition of science and technology, and it's a global organization that's affiliated with AmeriCorps. And my job was to recruit people to go out to these rural communities in different states and countries and build programs that could economically advance the disadvantaged. So the question was asked, how the Littleton Academy project could do that. And, I felt that engineering it creates a problem solving mindset. And I came in as a consultant. And, as I just continued to meet with the team, they asked if I would consider just becoming a part of the program, and that just led into, okay, well, she's the assistant headmaster, and so just working, consulting with the Fitz Foundation and the other people on the team. And there's a team of people, economists, lawyers, all kinds of different people on the team for the Littleton Academy project. And it was an honor to be selected as a person who knows the community, a person who knows the people in the community. And ultimately, I think that my selection was based in part, yeah, for the knowledge and the certifications and the education that I have, but also because I truly have a heart for the children here in this area and beyond. But I believe that connectivity piece of who I am sacrificially and as a person is what I bring to the project. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we're so excited. Well, I mean, when I first heard about it, they're like, they're opening a school in Littleton. Wait,
Yeah,
you said
like
this Littleton here? But yeah, and
yeah.
so you mentioned like the Fitz Foundation. I
Yes.
know there were a lot of people involved in developing this project. Well, I don't want to say project, but this
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
You talk. Well, it's a private school, correct?
It is. It is a, it's interesting because it's a private school with
Hmm.
very public access. We definitely want to be accessible, but from the private school perspective, education around us has evolved into something that's not effective for the kids that are exiting our education systems. It doesn't matter what county you're in; they're just not being able to become productive adults because they just don't have tools. So if you're a private school, you can assess the need of the students around you, and you can design your curriculum, your school, your hiring based upon the needs of the community versus
Right.
the needs of, what the federal government says or the state or the charter association says about what education looks like. And it's not customized and specific to the students in your area. So it is a private school, but we have graded tuition, scholarship opportunities. So anyone who really wants to engineer their own future, they are definitely welcome at Littleton Academy. And a part of my job is making sure that accessibility piece is the reality of the school from the start. So we'll be a K-5 starting. Next year we'll open in September as a K-5, and we'll add a grade each year eventually to become a K-12 entrepreneurial experiential learning academy.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. You
Yay!
mentioned scholarships. Now, what's the percentage that you think would be scholarship?
The percentage of scholarship students versus non, we will definitely have around the area of, I would say, 30 to 40% scholarship
Okay.
opportunities for students. But those are all of those details are being worked out. We're not going to be inaccessible in any way, and we're looking forward to collaborating with the area charter and public schools around us to provide those educational opportunities, even for the students in a public or charter school. If we offer a course that they don't have, we look forward to being able to stream that service into their facilities because,
Okay.
education is not exclusive. It's a human right. And we believe that if we can get it right, we can share it.
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. Now,
Yeah.
earlier you talked about like testing, like, as long as you pass the test, you get
Yeah.
this particular job or this license or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, what is the Littleton Academy stance on like testing?
Yeah, so we do have curriculum specialists that, we've hired and people who are experts at really doing that thing. But from a general perspective, we do want our students to not just pass standardized tests, but to master the standardized tests. The focus is not to, okay, ooh, we got to get past this EOG. The focus
Right.
is, yeah, definitely, you're going to master that test because you know what you're doing, because you know the content of the test. We're not going in at the beginning of the year and saying, okay, we got to get over this hump. We got to get this, standard test, and we need this score. Because I don't necessarily, and as a person, just not Littleton Academy or this particular facility, as a person, to pass a test, I really want you to understand the content because that's what's going to make you a better person in your field, not the score. The score is important, but we want you to pass the test because you know the material and not
Okay.
because you're just a good test taker.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, That's a whole other topic.
That
But
defeats the purpose.
right. But okay, so let's say I'm a student. What's like a typical day? I walk through the door, what happens?
Oh my God. First of all, you're going to be blown away by the building that we have because,
Okay, all right.
oh man, you're going to get there and you're going to stop for a minute and say, oh man, this is my school. This is amazing. And after
Okay.
that, this quarter from August to October, we are really, really, really customizing that piece of the school. So, curriculum wise, class offerings, what I do know and what Deb and Ed Fitz talk about frequently is trades. The ability to have students in our school who can be a plumber or own a business, who can be an electrician, who can graduate with the business already. So we're really focusing on students who want to stay local, be economically viable, and can choose to go to college or can choose to stay and have a productive business. We're just creating pathways. And we want to get back to a time where, kids really know how to do stuff. When I was growing up, if your auntie's porch was falling in, or the cousins could get together on the weekend and that porch would be done. Now,
Right.
let a door hang off the hinge. The kid doesn't know how the screwdriver. They don't know how to screw a door back on the hinge.
Right.
So just really teaching kids trades and experiencing the arts, how to build a birdhouse, how to wire a robot. We feel will prepare them for life in a way that when they get 16 or 18, they're more prepared for college or they're more prepared for life. And then they can be successful. And they won't spend the years between 20 and 30 figuring out, I wonder what I want to do. I want to go back to school when I'm 45. That's just time. Right. And economically, I have a background in finance. Those are years that you don't get back. A kid should start out investing really earlier than 16 to 18, but especially minorities really have to understand how money works, how to earn it the right way, where to put it, and how to make it work for you at a much earlier age. So we're really focused on the viability of the school, yes, but the viability of the kid because they went to our school. Trades, doing things with your hands, robotics, engineering, apprenticeships. We're working on internships, articulation agreements with different schools. So a lot going on. I hope I answered your question, but that was a long answer to a short question.
Oh that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And I appreciate you putting emphasis on trades because not everybody wants to do the 4-year route, So and then trades, any of them are in super high demand.
Yes.
Like now. So I can just imagine what it's gonna be, a few years from now.
Try to find a general contractor or a plumber. see how long you're gonna have to wait.
Right, how many people you got to go through?
The demand is there.
This person didn't show up, and I got a story about that too, but I won't.
We all do.
Right. Okay. So, what do you? And we actually kind of touched on this too. But what do you hope that that outcome is for the student? To once completing Littleton Academy.
Oh man, that's a loaded question. So when a student enters and enters Littleton Academy, my personal and we have a team of people that's working out with our school mission and vision and all of those things. But for me to see a kid come through Littleton Academy and find out, oh man, I'm really great at engineering. I'm really great at art. I'm really great at writing by like 3rd grade. 4th grade, and we channel that into a shadowing or an apprenticeship between the grades of 6 and 8. And by the time that kid gets to high school, they have a mutual fund with at least $10,000 to $15,000 in it. They know if they want to go to college, where they're going. I mean, I just want that kid to have experienced a lot of different things in life: the arts, the trades, the engineering, the math, the science, the basics, to have been academically successful, and then to feel a portion of financial success as a child. Working as a teenager allowed me to experience spending my own money for a segment of my life. And it just prepares you. If you have to go through things in life, as we all do, and you have to survive, it gives you the tools needed to survive as an adult when life kind of hits. So I want that kid to know what it's like to do different things in life, to experience different things successfully, to know how to interact with people, to know which fork to use when you're at a 5-star restaurant, those types of things. I want that kid to be well-rounded and respected in their family so that they can impact maybe a younger sibling or a younger cousin. Just a great all-around human being is what I seek to produce at Littleton Academy. Some will go to college. Some may even become astronauts at NASA. Some will own your local t-shirt shop. Some will own a restaurant. Some will be doing the custodial services at the school. Some will be teachers. But whatever that choice they make, we want to feed that and make sure that they are productive and kind human beings who are built to give back and pay it forward, because that's the thing that's going to create the type of attitudes in our society that makes us sustainable as a people.
Right, and that's absolutely beautiful. And something also that you brought up about the arts, like that's seriously
Yeah.
lacking.
Oh yeah. So I was that parent. I was that parent that some people like, why she let them kids sing all the time? And when they were a little small, I mean, like toddlers, why they just banging on to you? He plays a tambourine. Oh my God, just kind of. But for me, you know, I have 6 kids and they're all very different. And I was that parent that would say, hey, you know, if you're good at that, okay, let's do that. Yeah, I'll go to 10,000 T-ball games if that's what you want to do. Or we'll if you want to sing, okay, let's do that. So, you know, my older 2, they're athletes. They went on, are doing what they want to do. And then, you know, the 2 singers, Jalen and Jada, namely you guys, you know, they went to the Apollo and the voice. Jalen's done the voice circuit, you know. So, and Sky and Destiny have done theater, community theater, and those things cost. You know, there are times when Jalen's audition in New York is like $3,000. The hotel's bill is $200. I come back home with $20 in my pocket, but that's an experience that he'll never forget. So
Yeah.
I've been that parent that says the arts are so important to really exposing kids to who they can become, and you give them that exposure and you let them do what it is that they want to do with it later in life. But if a parent misses the window, especially in the arts, I played the piano as a kid. I feel like it made me smarter. I felt like it made me more sensitive. I felt like it taught me to channel my emotions. So I believe that exposing kids to the arts really helps hone in on their self-reflection, and it's super important. And hopefully, you know, with Lakeland being right there, connected to the school, being renovated alongside, you know, students at Littleton Academy will have premier access to, I mean, a top-notch, world-renowned theater right there, right here in Littleton. So I'm excited. It's cool.
Yeah, and you just mentioned, well, 2 of them you mentioned, Jada and Jalen,
Yeah.
who did a segment for my holiday festival last year and did a phenomenal job. I greatly
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. That's still on
Thank
Facebook
you.
if y'all want to check it out, by the way. Um,
Thank you.
but yeah, and so like I said, I love the arts. I appreciate the
Yep.
arts. This is even why I started the Warrenist in the first place. I had, it was Warren Artist, and I put it together. So that's the origin of the name,
Ah,
just put emphasis on the arts. And so I understand the importance of it, and I do greatly appreciate with the Littleton Academy that will be incorporated into the curriculum as well. So,
yeah.
yeah, but now with the Littleton camp, now was that like kind of like a glimpse of what the Littleton Academy will be like?
Yeah. So the camp, the gym is brand new, it's renovated, and it's just kind of sitting there. So, you know, I feel like in order to really market the school, and you really got to interact with people, especially. I know this is time of COVID, so we were very health conscious, and very careful in how we put the camp on. But we really wanted to get kids to experience different types of things all together at the same time. So we had monologues in theater. We had culinary in this camp, robotics. We combined the arts and the technical side of things. And we just noticed, you know, a group of kids would gravitate towards the monologues. A group of kids would gravitate towards the engineering. And it did. It gave us a sense of what an experiential kind of school would look like. Kids just really touching different parts of life and different things in life so that they can find out what they like, or find out what they're good at, or find out what they're horrible at. Because we had a couple kids say, look, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. And so, you know, you usher them to the next station. And I think it's important in life. You never know, you know, it's like a vegetable. You got to try some in my house 3 times, 3 different ways before you can say I don't like it. And kids, they have to be exposed to different activities just to know how they interact with it and what they can become. Imagine if Michael Jordan never picked up a basketball. He liked baseball. Imagine if he never picked up a basketball, if no one ever exposed him to basketball. What would the world be missing right now? Oh, Michael Jordan. Yeah. So that, that's the crux of it.
And style.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. But he had to pick up a basketball at some point in time.
Right. Right. And so you briefly mentioned with COVID and the pandemic. Now, for me, and I'm sure others will agree, with education, particularly rural education, with the COVID, well, I'm sorry, not the COVID, but what COVID revealed was that, our education system is in shambles. Okay. It just highlighted things that, we already knew. Let's say if the Littleton Academy was open and operating at the height of the pandemic, how would you have functioned? How would you have approached education at this time?
So I would have to answer that from a personal perspective because the frameworks for Travis, our head of school, is here now. His family moved here from Indiana a couple weeks ago, and so that's a big part of us as a team getting together and figuring out how we want to make our school accessible, even in times of like a COVID. But as a person, I'll give you a personal answer for that. I would want education to be packaged in a way where you can even get what you need out of a book, because we know in some places in Warren County, if you have to click a button to get it, you're not going to get it. If you have to get on the internet to get it, you may as well write that off. So, I think there are various ways to do that. We grew up with textbooks. They don't have textbooks in the systems, in the public school systems now in the way that we remember. But yet when you go to college, the first thing you get is a textbook. That's an educational disconnect. So, I think there are ways to get materials out to kids where they can self-study in a way that's effective and efficient. But in a time of COVID, if we're in a position and it's Littleton Academy or another school, and we do have broadband issues, I would want to have a packaged curriculum that is available online or on a disc where a kid can push a button or pop in a CD and hit the pause button. Okay, let me get a lesson. Pause. Answer the question. Take a quiz. Okay, let's go again. Let's get the next lesson. Pause. And so, those are innovative ways. And one of the reasons why, we're private. When you see that there's a need, you have to customize a strategy to fix it. Because every day that you take to not fix the root or the problem is a day that kid doesn't, their window is closing. And in reference to early childhood education, if you don't get to a kid between the ages of 0 and 5, some things they'll just never get. For me, I was fortunate. My mother and I, we, as adults, we're like night and day. But as a kid, my mother taught me to read before I went to kindergarten, and that's carried me through school. It lit a fire in me that still burns, and I believe is one of the things that carries me through. And saying that true education at the root of it all is just A and B, and 1 + 1 is 2. There's a foundation to learning, and we can figure out ways to do it. So whether it's, bringing books in a paperback with a drone and dropping them on your doorstep, or putting that entire class on a disc and sending it out in CDs so kids can access their learning, is definitely possible. Absolutely possible. Time of COVID or no COVID, you can do it if we have the motivation, and we do.
Right, and you personally speaking, I saw it with my own eyes, like how you all adjusted.
Yeah.
Like you built like a just a school area, like just like a little mini school in your office. I mean, it was phenomenal.
So I'm that parent. I'm that parent that's like, wait a minute, okay, I got $20. Then we can get a box of spaghetti is 99 cents, and I can take the other $19 and put it towards getting the education that you need. So what we did, we live in a dead spot in Vance County, and there was just internet around us, but there was not even with your cell phone. So I did. At least my kids have an office space of their own that is their study office. It's their, you've got computers. I had some computers donated from a software company that I work with in California, and they've got desks, so they have, have what they need. The internet here is, and I think as parents, we really have to figure out what our priorities are, because you only get one time to raise them and to put in them what they need. Once they're gone, they're gone. And it was important to me. It wasn't the most affordable option, but it's the wealth of what they're getting from it. So, paying tutors to come in and setting up their office, and my office is next door. That's just a part of enrichment that I believe every kid should have access to, or just mine or somebody else's. So yeah.
Right. And you actually touched on my next question. It's a little personal, just a little personal, but I feel like people could really learn from it.
Okay.
Now you have 6
Yes.
children, right?
Yep. 6.
Yep.
Half
Right.
dozen.
So half a dozen. And then all of them have, these like skills, like talents, artistic, entrepreneurial, athletic, all of this. And then plus you have all these intensive projects that you're working on, like the school and everything else that we have no idea what you're doing. How seriously, like, how do you balance all of that? Please tell me.
Oh man, it goes in phases. I've gone through some really tough things in my life, and it's been during those times a lot of praying and crying. Lord Jesus, like self-reflection, just praying and crying, and then the answer comes. It's just one step at a time. It's okay. Well, finish this class. Make sure you can get that one to school, and make sure that one still participates in that. And then you count your change over here, and you pay for this one to do that. And when you see that, your kids are developing and you are developing as a person, because as you become selfless as a parent, doors open. It's just a miraculous kind of thing. And COVID was bad, but COVID gave us all time to sit still and self-reflect and really figure out and see what's really important in life. And what's really important are the relationships that you have with your children, number one, because they are reflections of you, and genetically they're 50% you. And just reflecting on that, for me, it gives me perspective. Each day I set out and say, okay, well, how can I help this one do that? My own kids. Now, how can I duplicate that I've just done for mine for someone else's? And in my career, I've only taken jobs and clients and projects where whatever I do in my own family, there's a channel for me to do that for other people. And in coming across being involved with AmeriCorps, it just paid me to build programs to help kids that look like my kids, that look like you and me across the country, and in Canada and Puerto Rico. And I felt that's a very fulfilling thing. And when you do it, whatever you do in life, I believe that you should, if you're willing to do it for free, then that's the thing that you should be doing in life. And AmeriCorps, they our assets. You're not gonna get rich working for AmeriCorps. It will open up a wealth of opportunities and a wealth of other business opportunities. But that's the purpose of the program. It makes you self-reflect and say, hey, am I really going to do this? I don't make a ton of money doing it, but is it worth it? And for me, I've ended my AmeriCorps career on a high note saying, yeah, it is worth it, because it's put me in a position not to just impact my own kids, but, there's going to be a school down the street with 200 slots that will impact another 200 and another 200 and another 2,000. And so, the programs that I've been involved in with FIRST across the country, the numbers are it's just countless. So I've been able to balance things by staying focused on what's important. And that's just staying true to myself. I'm a spiritual person, just loving God, and just keeping my true friends close. So it goes back to that Sunday school at Cold Springs.
No.
Being a good person.
Absolutely. And then also just one quick question about the Littleton Academy. My bad. so you're the assistant head,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So who's the head or the director? Can you talk about that person for a moment?
Yeah. Yeah. So being the assistant, uh Travis Howard is his name, and he is he's from South Carolina, Fort Mill, South Carolina. His family, his wife is a professor at the University of Southern Indiana,
Okay.
and he came to us by way of recommendation of another person. So we were searching for a headmaster, and when he interviewed with the team, he's a down to earth guy. He's educated. I'm gonna tell you, his superpower, when we asked about his superpower, he said is kid communication. And I've seen him in
Okay.
action. He's just a very, kind-hearted, interactive person. And I am super proud that Travis will be heading up the school. People, when they sign their kids up to a school, you're really not signing them onto the building. You're signing them onto the people in the building. And administration is key to the experience that your child's going to have. And from my dealings with him thus far, I believe that he has all the stamina educationally and all the socio emotional capacity to really lead a innovative program there at Littleton. He and his family they're just awesome people, and I just can't wait for you guys to meet him.
Okay. I'd love to have them here if
Yes,
possible. Okay.
definitely. We
Awesome.
definitely can do that.
Okay, that would be great. That'd be great. So if people want more information about the Littleton Academy, what like, educators, if they're interested in being a part of the administration, where can someone go for information?
Great question. So we
Okay.
are we're in the middle. Well, we're in the middle of Camp 2, the second week of our camp, and we will be unveiling the school on Friday. So you're invited to come down, and we'll be running the virtual tour on a loop, and you guys will get to see what the school is going to look like. The PR team for the Fitz Foundation is working on a website. So in the meantime, if there are people who want to stay in the know, we do have a mailing list. And it's basically we're compiling email addresses and we're sending out newsletters as updates. So you can actually reach me, my email, jonesangel438 at gmail, and send them to me, and I will route them to the PR team. And as the website for the school, the updates for the school, all of that information will just be forwarded over to the PR team when the school is ready to be unveiled in that way. So we're putting all of those websites together, and we
Okay.
want you guys to get the full experience of it.
Okay. And you said that's this Friday at what time?
This Friday at 11, we'll be running a short video of what the architect has put together, a virtual 3D, a short clip of what the school will look like. So you
Okay.
guys get to kind of get a peek at what September of 2022 will be.
Okay. And what's the address for
The
people that?
address for Lakeland is 411 Mosby Avenue, and the school is, the Lakeland
Mhm.
site. Our actual address is 413 Mosby Avenue. Not sure if that shows up on the Google Maps just yet, because everything's new and going on.
Mhm.
But it's you can get us at 411 Mosby. The gym is brand new, renovated, and it's behind the Lakeland Cultural Arts Theater.
Okay. One more question. I'm gonna leave you
Yeah,
alone. I promise.
it's been great.
Yeah. Well, you have one quote that you say is your favorite quote. Write the vision and make it plain. And that caught
Oh
my
boy.
eye. Can you go into detail about that?
Oh man, write the vision, make it plain. That it's one of those things. Since I was a small kid, I'd always write. I'd always doodle. And so I feel like even if you don't think you're following your plan, write it down. I believe in writing things down. When they come into your mind, they're gone. When you bring it in and you write it down, it just makes it real. And that quote is actually a scripture. And when the good Lord says, hey, write the vision, make it plain, I think that it gives him the license, not that he needs it, to go ahead and bring it to fruition. Because even in my life, I have books and tablets and notebooks that I wrote in 10, 12, 15 years ago. And I can attest that those things that are in those books have come to pass and are coming to pass in my life. Not because I'm such a great thing, but I just believe in following the directions. And when, the good Lord says, hey, write the vision, even if you're not a spiritual person, writing things down gives the universe in your life and everything else the license to bring it to pass. It's just not real unless you write it. So, thinking ink is what they used to say in the insurance business. Thinking ink. It ain't real till you write it down.
That's so true. That is
I
so
believe
true.
that.
All right. So anything else you want to bring up, you want to mention, make sure that the people watching know?
Well, things are happening so fast. I just want everyone watching to be encouraged that, education is something that's a God-given right. And there are people here that, I've stayed. I haven't, I'll go off and fly off to work, but I always come right back. And it's been because, I don't want things to get lost. I don't want investors ask me, why did you stay, or why do you stay? And it would be easy to go off to West Coast or somewhere and earn what you would say a fortune would be. But if you live in a place where the fortune and the richness is inside people, the wealth will come. And I've just felt like, my calling was always to be local and to be here, because, if I don't do it, who else will? When, God equips you a certain way to do certain things. If you need something, create it. If you need something from a business and they don't have it, create it. Jada's opening an embroidery shop on the main street. So different things. We have to take on the mindset of, if I need it, I can create it. And that's what I want to leave whoever's watching with. Aspirations in life, whatever it is that you have inside of you, adults, we have the charge to help you find it. As a kid, even if you're an adult, find out what it is that you're put here to do, and that's the only thing that you're really going to be truly fulfilled at doing, and that's where your wealth is. So that's, I just appreciate you for having me, for caring about what I have to say. It means a lot. We Warren County hometown girls.
That's right.
It means a lot to me.
Right. And it means a lot to me that you're doing this. I greatly appreciate the opportunity. And like I said, when I found out about that, I said, no, I need to know more. And I know other people want to know more.
Yes, we're working to get it out to y'all. We're working.
Right, right. And I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for doing the show, Angel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. For more information about what's going on in Warren County, North Carolina, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm sure there's others too. All right. So thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
See ya.